Right. Wow. Yeah. Holy crap. There's a lot there. I'm just like, how do I process a question out of that?
However you want, bro.
Well, what the main thing that I got from that, what I believe is like, when you move around and you go to, let's say a new person walks into a room, you can tell if they're really pissed off and they're having a terrible day and they're a bad person or whatever the case is, that's going to change the energy of the room, because now it literally on a biological level, there's a threat. It's just like, this person is a really a terrible person. They're holding a gun or whatever, or they're just super angry. They might just throw some plates. They're a threat and they're affecting everybody in that field from just a really simple base level. And, if you want to go into a room and you can generate the feeling and the authenticity of kindness, of love, of compassion, of generosity, and you pump yourself up with that energy in the way that you would do it. And there's many different ways that you can do it, but you got to get to that feeling somehow within yourself in an authentic way. You can think about a memory when you were kind. You could think about setting the intention. You could do breathing. One of the ways where people are like, I'm so stressed out. I can't calm down. I just say, okay, breathe in as slow as you can, and then hold your breath as long as you can, and then breathe out as slow as you can after that. Bam. You've just done it. So you affect your whole biological state through your breath. And then that's going to calm you down. You can set the intention, generate that emotion, and it's going to change how you interact with people. It's going to change and affect your whole environment. And that's a really powerful thing. And it's a gift every single time you go into an environment with that. And you can learn how to do that. And that's through your own consciousness. That's through your own decision. That's through your own, your own decision to just do that. Or you can stay in a funky state and do whatever you're doing. So one of the questions that I was curious about that I put at the beginning, and now we're here, so I want to ask it, is what is for you the most wild and out there thing that you have ever seen firsthand? I'll go with a direct experience. I'm sure you've heard some craziness, because I have heard some craziness in my life, but I've also experienced some wild craziness. So I'm just curious if you could share your most wild direct experience that made you like, oh my goodness, that's some wild stuff there.
Yeah, brother. There's a lot. I tend not to rank them. I love what you were talking about related to breath and pranayama, whether people do it through alternate nostril breathing or Kalabhakti breath of fire, because that's engaging the physical body. If we do one thing, the breath is definitely one of the best bridges from consciousness to the body. So I don't like ranking them, because I like seeing magic in all things. And I feel like if I said, well, this time where aerokinesis, controlling the direction of the wind to influence how flags were blowing, to see the validation for this bit of really cool magic, if I say that's number one, I think my egos would want to really spend a lot of time there. And I'm looking at the fundamental nature of reality that allows all magic to be possible, not just focusing on, one specific thing that I feel is more important than all the others for demonstration purposes. Although I do focus on, a few certain things at a time in terms of meditation and the mystical abilities I'm getting to a certain level. And then it just, like physical health, is just about maintenance. There was a time when, okay, I'm getting permission to share this. This was actually, well, there's two, and I wrote about one in book one and the other's coming in book two. So I think the more socially acceptable story is, and I write about this in my first book in the chapter called The Miraculous Healing. My father has, very successfully beat cancer, but until he had beat it, he was in chemo. And once when he was getting scoped, it was colon cancer, his colon burst and he went into sepsis, into toxic shock. So, I drove to the hospital, my mom and I were there, and the nephrologist, the kidney doctor, said, his kidneys aren't functioning. We're doing a lot of work, but he might need dialysis permanently, at least for a few months, and he could die. And it was really harrowing to both of us. And the fact that the lower possibility was months of dialysis, what a thing to go through, right? So mom dealt with it in her way, and my way of dealing with it was to, walk to the other side of the waiting room, open my computer, I was in college at the time, and work on an essay. And just to okay, I don't need to react emotionally, there's nothing I can do, I'm just going to focus on what I can do and use my time well. And I wasn't praying regularly then or other stuff. And then I was just reminded from my earlier days, 12, 13, 14, my first phase of study, like I actually can do something about this. So I kept the computer window open so people wouldn't, think I was crazy walking around casting a circle, chanting and doing all the ritual stuff. And I just got into a state of knowing. And I feel that higher self really came in because there was less ego involvement, but I knew what to do in the moment of needing to do it. And Falco Tarasco, named Alberto Araudi when he was born, wrote in his autobiography, The Alchemist, a lot of these transmissions of if you want something to happen, it'll happen when it needs to, and the knowing will just come, and then the thing will happen, and then you have more conscious control. It's kind of like somebody moves your body through riding a bike, and then you know how to ride a bike. So I just saw his kinesis functioning. I didn't know anatomy to great detail. I just saw what I visualized as fluids moving, and healthiness and good proclamations from doctors, and it was very, very strong. And it wasn't very long. Esther Hicks talks about 17 seconds. Vishan of Mind Valley did as well when we talked. And so, maybe it was 17 seconds, maybe it was a little more or less. And I just knew he was fine. And a few minutes later, I was getting some hot chocolate. The kidney doctor comes back up, and mom freaked out because he came up 15 minutes after the first message. And it sounded like, dad needed hours more surgery no matter what. And he said, Larry's kidneys mysteriously started functioning. He probably won't need dialysis. We're doing it for 2 days to be safe, but he'll be fine. So that was cool, because it wasn't like I said earlier about the clouds disappearing and the stars appearing, or the telekinesis, or the times I saw lights materialize or stars move, or, 222 is the number I give. And by now it's more than that because they happen all the time. But that's what was one of the most, if not the most, practically useful times in life. And you could call it synchronicity, you could call it probability, maybe you could call it precognition. A super skeptic would say maybe dad was going to be fine, the doctor just wanted to say worst case scenario just in case it got worse. But I like to think there was some causality there, and I'm very grateful for that happening, because that's what planted the seeds of faith for my own health crisis to go the magical route. And what led me to eventually find William Bankston, who has, I think, one of the flashiest things that has been caught with good data. Bankston will go to Ivy League universities like Brown, get mice that are injected with cancer, become terminal, get covered in tumors, do hands-on healing. The mice are not only healed, but immunized from cancer. And if you go to Bankston, BENGSTON, research.com, he's also the president of the Society for Scientific Exploration. You see, his research. And so, it's cool when we can see stuff like this, or Greg Braden's video of a medicineless hospital where a tumor vanishes in real time as people chant over a body that isn't cut and the tumor just goes away. As we study practical magic, especially through the accessibility point of healing, we're like, all right, how much would my life change if I could levitate cats versus heal anything instantly? And, when I was 12, I wanted to shoot fireballs out of my hand. But as I grew up, I realized, okay, would that ever get boring? How useful would it be really? Can I eat that? and just realizing, again, there's entertainment, and then there's practically useful. And of course, entertainment is useful because through entertainment, we can inspire and transmit and often teach.
Holy crap, man. Those are some pretty intense, those are pretty intense stories. I'm going to definitely check out this Bankston research. That's interesting stuff. An incredible story about your father. That's I like that idea too. Like, the way that I kind of frame it is like, I do believe we influence our reality. And I think it's like a give and take. I see sometimes people are looking in the law of attraction and healing and stuff like that. And that might go too far. Like, if you've got if you break your arm, you need to go to the hospital. You don't magic that shit together. We have a doctor for a reason. You know what I mean? It's like, if I can, give it a try though. So go ahead, but as you give it a try, like try first. I love that idea. It's like, okay, break your arm, see if you can like heal it yourself. But if you go get medicine, and then, you're going to use the other side too. But what did you want to say?
Yeah, I got really excited because I think you have a great blending of a response. Like during the wait for the ambulance and during the ambulance ride, it's your pop quiz and magic. And like, pop quiz in elementary school, you have a certain amount of time and then the pencils are being taken away. So if you do it, validate and do it. And if it takes 17 seconds and matter phases in and out, then, why do you need 3 hours of ritual and preparation and candles and oil or whatever you think you need? But yeah, I think you're right. And I say this often, like if you get hit by a car and a bone is coming through your leg and it's broken and you're in pain, like, yeah, go to the hospital. But
I love
I
the
do it with
pop
friends.
quiz. Pop quiz universe. Oh God.
Right?
Yeah, man, here's your chance.